Cam Radio, Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book every Tuesday night. I want to thank everyone. Thank Big Lou. Lots to talk about. We got an NCAA women's champion. Heck of a weekend with the NBA. Some big upsets. Everybody fighting for position. But talking about the ladies, the UConn. Before we get there, so
Okay.
UConn beats UCLA to go to the final.
Yes.
South Carolina handily beats Texas
Mm.
to go 74-57. Um, and then UConn, um, no, I didn't write. What was the final? I just lost my. They beat.
Yeah. UConn beat South Carolina. The final was 82-59. Upon UConn women's basketball team showed South Carolina that the toughness and the due diligence of those girls, and they had a very convincing victory over the Lady Gamecocks.
It was interesting because the South Carolina's got a coach with a lot of swag, um,
Hmm.
and you want to go. I don't think she came in overconfident, but it just kind of this is UConn's 12th national chat. I mean, they were both great teams. It just looked
Right.
like UConn. It just looked like UConn was just a step above. I mean,
Hmm.
it wasn't like it was a last second game. I mean, UConn was in control really the whole game.
Right.
There really wasn't much of a.
Right. They just beat them. You know, to put it all in a nutshell, they were better prepared. They've been there. Um, they know what it takes. Their coach knows what it takes. I just feel like they never let up off the gas. And throughout this tournament, as I'm looking at the some of the games back, uh, but Carolina did beat Texas pretty handedly, which is
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
thought
no
they were going to
doubt.
have. Right now, I don't know. Um, I don't know as far as like preparation goes. Maybe she didn't want to wear them out too bad, but it just seems like to me that UConn was better prepared for the moment, and once they hit that court, it was told to them, do not let your foot up off the gas, keep your foot, keep full throttle all the way, and it showed with the final score.
No doubt. I mean, there was never ever, like I said, it wasn't. Um, it never ever NCAA one NCAA women's. Yeah, that UConn was never in any trouble. I mean, it just never. It was 82-59. We got it. We
Right.
got it all. Yeah, 82-59 UConn. Um, so I mean, the closest it was going into the half. Uh,
Hmm.
it was 34 to 26. And from
Right.
that point out, and from that point on, UConn just kind of showed
Yeah.
they went into the third 26-16, and the fourth
Right.
was 2017.
2017.
Uh yeah, so I mean they
Yeah.
almost won by 30, 20 but
Yeah.
23.
16 points in the third quarter is not going to win you. Maybe against a different team, but against that UConn team, they had to be close. If they're scoring 26, South Carolina had to score 20, you know. But you can see throughout the whole game, besides the fourth quarter, uh, you can see it was 19-14 first half, pretty good. 17-12 second quarter, pretty good. You're hanging in there. After
Yeah.
that half, the game was over with. 26-16, 26 points to 16 points.
Yeah, they
That's
jumped
not
out.
going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
They were
jumped
already
out,
ahead.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, and they never look back, never let their foot off the gas, and just played on the victory. So, hats off to the Lady Huskies, for that victory. Hats off to South Carolina for making it to the finals to play against UConn. So now next season, you'll know when it comes to, you know that you can make it now. Now you're gonna have to have uh, a better routine or more tenacity to take on the opponent because I'm pretty sure that these two teams will probably see each other again. But hats off to UConn. Even I love Carolina, but hats off to UConn for the victory.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like I said, that congratulations, 12th net. Um, let's see. Hats off to UConn and South Carolina still had a great year. I'm sure they'll be both back
Mhm.
in it. Now going to the men's final four. This was let's
Okay.
see here. Yeah, next
Yep. I
order.
know the Army.
Next.
I know the Army thinks I'm going to do a whole bunch of boasting and bragging, but I'm not. I'm going to give you professional sports analysis on this game.
Florida, Florida, Florida beat a Florida beat the better team. There's no doubt about it. Auburn's probably was the best team, and
Hmm.
they beat them. Like I
Yeah.
said, in the tournament, it's rough. There's no, um, they played. These are Saturday, and they're playing tonight, Monday. Um,
Hmm.
Even though we do show on Tuesday, we're recorded on Mondays. So
Right.
it's a rough. It's a very rough. It's a very rough tournament. One and done,
Hmm.
and 2 nights later you're playing. You get to skip a night, go to the next night. It gets kind of grueling. You go 2 3
Yeah.
weeks in. Um, but Florida handles Auburn. Now Houston and Duke. Um, Duke was up. Duke was up, I think, by 14, 16. They were up.
Hmm.
And Duke was now Houston likes to play a slower paced ball. And in the
Yes.
first half, Duke was pressuring them, fast pace, up, and they got tired. And Houston just stood right there. Duke slowed
Hmm.
down and they wore them down and went to the last
Went to the
seconds.
wire.
Se-
Hmm.
yeah, 70-67. It was a great game. Um,
Awesome game.
Awesome game. Awesome game. So that puts Houston and Florida together in the NCAA
In the championship.
championship. Uh,
Hmm.
and there's a 1 point difference. I think Florida. Let me pull that up. The Florida that's favored. Let's see. I'll pull it up real quick. I'm gonna go to
Okay.
one of the books, see what they actually got going on. Okay. Uh, Florida versus Houston.
Hmm.
It's a 1 point. They got Florida -1. Um,
Hmm.
they got Houston plus, and the over is 140. Um, I think one of the big things is that obviously we all know Houston has a great defense. Um,
Hmm.
um, but I think Florida's big is going to have to, no pun intended, is going to have to be a big factor. He's going to have to really
Hmm.
manhandle down in the because if they can manage the offensive rebound and control in the paint, they have a shot. Like I said, this is going to be like I don't expect nobody to win this um, by 10 points.
No.
Um, I expect it to be a very, very, very close game.
Hmm. I
Um,
agree, Tony. I agree that
yeah, I just
the game's going to be pretty close because going through the stats, Florida 85.3 points per game, Houston 73.9. Field goal percentage, Florida 47.3, Houston 45.2. Rebounds, Florida 41.9, Houston 36.8. So they're right there with each other. Especially with the blocks and the steals. Florida is 4.5 blocks per game to Houston's 4.6. And then you got steals per game, Florida 7.4, Houston 7.8. So it's going to be according to the stat sheet, it could be a pretty close game if both teams play, play to the best of their abilities. It could be a close game. Um, ESPN bet has uh Houston. They predict that Houston's going to win by 65.4% to Florida's 34.6. And I believe the margin is that way because they beat Duke. And I believe that's why
Yeah,
they got
absolutely.
they beat Duke, so they're gonna get the upper hand. But it's a brand new ball game. That's the beauty of the bracket tournament. That's the beauty of the men's championship tournament and the women's too, is that we can, compare to the last team they played, but they play a whole new different team the next game. So there's different strategies, different opponent. But but I understand we have to do what we do based off of how they played up to this point. And I understand why they give Houston the advantage. And a little bit of me thinks Houston is going to win this game, but I believe Florida is going to give them a game as well. They have a
Yeah,
chance
I
of
totally agree.
of winning it, just as much chance of winning it as Houston does.
And what's crazy is I had two bets that I'd made beginning of the for Duke to win. One I
Mhm.
cashed out on Friday night because they were offering me a cash out of double what I bet. So I said
Mhm.
I'm going to take that. So
Oh,
Duke
that's
was
cool.
winning. They offered me on the second one. They offered me because for whatever reason I made these two identical bets. I don't know if I hit it, whatever I did. So on that one they offered me double plus another plus some more money to cash out. And I was looking at it going, well, this is when Duke was up. And something in
Right.
me said, man, just cash it out.
Right.
Cash it out. From that point on, that just started going. And then it turned the cash
Okay.
out off.
Yeah.
And, because it
Wow.
was tight there. Yeah. And I was like, wow, you got to look at, if they're offering you 60% more than what you paid, you only got another 40 and it's a
Well, you got to
close
take
game.
that.
I mean, yeah, you got to look at, or even if it's like 30%, I've seen it be 30%. It's like, man, that's not enough really I'm just going to take the money. You get the money, you get your points. Um,
Hmm.
and I think tonight, like at the live, let me pull that back up. I got it right. Oh,
Okay.
let me see. So they got, they got the total full game squares, NCAA specials. Um, and they got the over at 140, the half. Let's see what we
Hmm.
got. Half View Florida versus for some reason it won't go there. So and every site is different.
Right. Right. Every site is
Yeah.
different. Right now,
For
ESPN has got them at 140 and a half, 140.5. They got Florida. They got Florida even at 140.5, and they got Houston under 140.5.
on
Crazy.
on this one, I'm on what am I on? I'm on FanDuel. Wait a minute, I'm on
Okay.
they got if Florida wins by 1 to 3 points, it's plus 600. Actually,
Hmm.
that was on Caesars. That was on Caesars. Let's go to that was Caesars app. Let's go to DraftKings. Sometimes DraftKings will offer a bunch of more bets or Caesars.
Hmm.
Sometimes their props aren't as Florida first half. So they got 55. 55 is the total for at the half. And you think about
Hmm.
that, that's only 20. that's only 27. Well, that's 28 points apiece in the
Right.
first half. Now, you would think that would, I mean, you would think that would be doable, but Houston plays a tough, um, Houston plays a tough defense, but I kind of like that. It's at 115. Here's something too now that a lot of people, and you might disagree with me on this. If Florida can jump out some kind of crazy way on a 10 or 12 point lead, I don't think Houston could come back. They're not built like that.
No.
I know, and I know what you're going to say is, well, they did it to Duke, and they did. In that game, Duke was playing, Duke ran out of smoke. And then Houston took total. See, Florida's a different team, totally different
Mm-hmm.
team. They play a different kind of ball. They got the big. They're going to rough it up down there in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just think if they jump out, and like I said, hats off to Houston. A lot of people, oh man, I know they came back from Duke, but I just don't know if they could come back to this Florida team. It's just built a little bit different. It all
Built a
comes
little
down
bit.
to
Yeah.
match. Yeah, it comes down to matchups. And because they're at the end, Duke wasn't hitting nothing. What I mean? It was like, holy cow. I mean,
The shots wouldn't fall for him. Nothing was falling for him. And that and of course that led to their demise. But I agree with you. As a matter of fact, on that. If Florida jumps out, if Florida jumps out in the lead, they can maintain that lead because of the fact that Houston doesn't play the up pace basketball that Florida plays. Florida plays a lot like Indiana. It's
yeah,
fast, it's back and forth, it's up and down the court. They play just like the Pacers to me. And if they do
and I,
get that 15, like a 15 to 20, or I say the 10 to 15 point lead. Won't say 10. 10 is kind of close now. Two threes and you're back in it. 10-point lead is not much these days. But if they get like a 15-point run on those guys, it's going to be hard for Houston to come back because they'll be forced to slow the game down. And I think that's when Florida Bigs take the game over to keep the
and
tempo
I,
back up with rebounds and fast outlets.
and I totally agree because I think with UConn came out, they increased the speed. They were handling floor. They were handling Houston, and then
Mm-hmm.
UConn kept getting a little bit slower, and that was Florida's game. I mean, that was Houston's game. They couldn't keep up that pace that they had, and that just
Right.
caters right to Houston. It's kind of a different deal where Florida plays like that, and if they could get they play different than Duke. I wouldn't say Duke's a slow team. I wouldn't call them a full court press. Kind of, they weren't really built like that, but they did
Right.
come out and they were trying to, and they did. The first half, they really they had Houston on its heels, but Houston stood
Yeah, they took it
tough.
to
You know
him.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they knew. I mean, somebody knew that they couldn't keep up the pace, and they were gonna, and they
Right.
did. Um they definitely they definitely I mean, they definitely fell off the speed of the game, and then they were just missing, and Houston was just taking advantage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just grinding it out. And I mean, like I said, Houston, heck of a comeback. And I'm not taking anything from it, but everybody's got their matchups. Um,
Right.
and I think this: if Houston keeps it grimy, I don't think Florida can win. You know what I mean? If they, I mean, I don't. I
Right.
mean, because I think Houston, if they can keep it, I say grimy. I mean, if they can keep it close, they'll beat them
Mm-hmm.
by three. You know what I mean? And they'll have no problem.
Yeah.
They'll have 'em so frustrated from missing shots.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
yeah, it's
Yeah, Florida has
to
to
be,
it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. But Florida has to keep a 10, I mean a 12 to 15 point lead throughout this game to win it. If they go to half court ball or if the tempo gets slowed down to where Houston likes to play, then Houston's going to get them.
Yes.
So Florida had to keep this game. They got to keep it up tempo. Got to keep a 12 to 15 point lead or gain you a 12 to 15 point lead. So when you rotate your starters out with your bench players, you can maintain that. You can maintain that lead. You might miss a few shots here or there. It might knock it down to 10, but as long as you can keep it 12 to 15 points or greater, then I feel like they have a good shot. But once they go half court ball like Houston, it's over. Houston's going to win it.
What's funny is I was looking at tickets. You could get some. I mean, they're upper tickets. I'm not telling you you're courtside, but about 150 bucks.
It's not
Not
bad.
not ter- not terrible. I mean, of course, down is gets way up there. But I'm saying, but even at um yeah, down gets. There's some corner views that you could get
Mm,
from about 200 bucks. But when you get into center court is gone. You already know that.
yeah, yeah.
Center court,
That's gone.
both sides are gone. They're not even listed now. Right to the right of center court, um, is 600 bucks a ticket. Um, between $600 and $700 ticket. But that sometimes you would think they would be. They got some $1,000 tickets and but yeah, about 150 bucks you can get an upright. Yeah, you can even get some corner angles for about 160. That's at the man. Did you see the oh on the Riverwalk? They had the NCAA. Man, it was packed. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
packed. Yeah, man. If
yeah.
you if you if you've never been to the Riverwalk in San Antonio, it's a real. I mean, it's something to
It's an
see.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a nice. I mean,
it's very
that's a
nice.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful
Very
city.
nice.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Hmm.
very nice. That's something to see. Been to San Antonio. That's a great thing to look at. Like I said, I'm not against the 50 over to 55 in the first half. I'm not because where are the points coming from? Because I if it's Florida's half, he could easily be. See, that's the problem. 55, because now you're talking Houston. I mean, yeah, it could be 36 to 26. You know what I mean? It's got to be 55. Um,
Hmm.
but like I said, Houston can shoot too. They'll definitely steal some balls and make. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one while we're talking on the over 55 or under 55. Um,
Hmm.
but I definitely one to talk about. Okay, we still got time. We still got a few
Okay.
minutes, so just want to thank everyone. And again, we're going to take a little business break for everyone. And remember, if you have any questions, 318-221-5422. Call the station. They do advertisement. We have 24 hours a day of great programming. We have our shows and many other shows. Um, And again, if you call and you want to be on the show, like some of these people I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about SI Motorsports over at 98 Benton Road. Go by, tell them Tony G or Big Lou sent you. However, you just mention our name, like, hey, I saw it on Cam Radio, or I saw it on the sports book, or give them a call at 318-747-3599. They do wheels, tires, mechanic work, lifts, performance. They do all kind of stuff, music. So give them a call. And like I said, it's very important that you say, "Hey, I saw Big Lou and Tony G on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube." That's how we kind of keep everything rolling. And like I said, if you want to be a business that you want us to do a spotlight on, call the station. We got two Facebook pages. One is KM Radio. The other one is the sports book, as you can see. Um, and the other one we have tonight is LJ Enterprises Merchant Services. If you're looking for an ATM or you're looking for a credit card service or you're not happy with yours, POS. A lot of new businesses like to go with POS. Give them a call at 318-470-0570. Again, tell them that you heard it, seen it. If you saw it on YouTube, on the sports book, Tony G, Big Lou, Cam Radio saw it. Just please mention our name. It kind of helps everyone. It kind of helps us get more and more people behind the product. All right. We get back. Like I said, we still got a few. We've definitely got a few minutes, but we get back
Mm-hmm.
a lot of NBA, a lot of NBA going on. Your
Mm-hmm.
Lakers are probably hot. They're probably one of the hottest teams right now in the NBA.
Right now. Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're on fire. Um, some people are on coast. Some other people are fighting for position, but the Lakers definitely look good. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Cleveland's little slide they had. They still won 62 games. It's not like they're falling apart. And even
Right.
Oklahoma, yeah, I mean, I think some of them guys are resting, but we're going to talk about that when we get back. Give you some plays, and there's still good action on picking who you like to win the NBA title for the futures bet. It's not a bad. Not a we got your favorites. I think it goes Oklahoma, Cleveland, Boston, Houston, LA, something. It's something like that, or LA and
Something
Houston.
like
But
that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely Oklahoma is number one. I ain't gonna lie there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boston and Cleveland are entangled, as they say,
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3, and then but LA, the way they're playing right now, because Denver's having problems. But like I said, and remember, guys, check us out on Facebook. Check us out, KM Radio or um, the Sports Book. If you want to give us a call, 318-221-5422 is our number. Love to talk to you. Eli, love to talk to you. There's always somebody there. Um, if not, leave a message, DM us. If you, like I said, if you have a sports, if you have a sporting event coming up, you have somebody that you want to people go, why do you? Because I always look at it like it might be somebody tuning in for the first time that doesn't realize all what KM Radio does. They do a lot of
Right.
public service stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They work with a lot of small groups. And there's
Community
a lot
events.
community events. A lot of times, we can give you servers that the big boys can't. Not that they don't, not that they won't. I mean, not that they can't, but they're just not geared up for the little guys. Just keeping it real. They're looking for the big major players, and a lot of times smaller businesses get pushed underneath the rug. And we have more of a custom. We have a custom way for smaller business because one size doesn't fit all. Not everyone has an endless bankroll to spend on advertisement and this or that but hey, like I said, give us a call at 318-221-5422. All right. When we get back, we are NBA, baby. NBA. Lots to talk about, lots of money to be had. All right. Tony G, Big Lou, Sportsbook, KM Radio, we go ham.
Hell.
Cam Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou. It's the sports book. It's Tuesday night. All right. NBA is crazy with a lot of over the weekend. Didn't get a chance. Two bets I didn't make, which I'm glad I didn't. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
pick Oklahoma over the Lakers because I would have lost that. And then
Right.
who else was it? Was it Boston? I think the Cavs lost. I mean, it was just
Yes.
like those were two. You're like, oh, that should be. Cavs are still 62 and 16. They're 6-4. Celtics are 9-1. The Knicks are playing good. Even the Pacers. I mean, really, the top six teams in Eastern Conference are pretty playing pretty good. And
Yeah.
there's going to be,
I agree.
like I said, there, yeah. And then there's, like I said, Cleveland and Boston are the top two. I'm not taking anything away from the New York. I just don't know if they're at that level to
Mm-hmm.
beat. But it all depends on the road.
Right. Right.
If Cleveland or Boston can get knocked out, they may have a shot of beating one of the. I mean, Um, but if they end up getting stuck playing, if they got to beat Boston to get to Cleveland, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I don't know if they could beat
Right. The
and
way Boston, yeah. It'll be hard for New York
Boston's playing.
to
Yeah, Boston's playing tough. There's no doubt about
yeah.
it.
They're
So
playing
what
tough
do we got
basketball
left?
right now.
What we got? 3 games left.
We got 3 games left for the I think we got 3 games left before playoff time. I
And
think.
and so then 7 and 10 play each other, and 8 and 9 play each other, and the winners of them play move up the board.
Hmm.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the 7, 8, 9 are pretty much locked in. I mean, obviously they've won their uh, Orlando Magic, Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat. That's who's going to
Right.
be fighting for. Um, in the last 10, the Bulls have played real good. Orlando's been playing real good in the last 10, so they should make for some good
Hmm.
games. And it'll be interesting to see who coasts. You know, does Milwaukee and in New York, do they sit some people down? Does Boston sit some people down? Um, Save them for the playoffs? Because right now, Boston can't catch. Um,
No, they can't catch Cleveland, so they might as well rest all their starters. They might as well rest the majority of their starters. Give them a little playing time so they don't get too tight, because you got to keep them extremities loose. So play them a little bit, but I would rest them as much as I could. Play them a little bit in the first half, and then they're sitting the rest of the game. Because I want them at their absolute best when it comes playoff time because there's no room for failure when the playoffs start.
so let me ask you this: at the bottom of the barrel, is there anybody down there that you're kind of surprised um, that's there? Toronto, Brooklyn,
Uh
Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Washington.
hmm. I'm
I don't know.
surprised at Philadelphia still has a run or still has a chance. I doubt it with their main guys out. I'm not sure about Philly. Brooklyn's playing okay, but it's Brooklyn. Who do they have for these stars? So I'm not I guess it
I
would
mean,
be
they
Philly would
Toronto
be
won
my
20. Yeah, surprise. Yeah. So Toronto won 29 games all year. Brooklyn won
mm-hmm,
25. Philly won 23. The Hornets won 19, and Washington Wizards won 17.
17. Right.
Um, Charlotte and Washington. I'm not surprised. I am surprised that that I'm surprised that the league doesn't make. I don't know. I guess you can't make them put together a better product. I mean, you know you can't make them, but I just don't know if those teams aren't doing like I said. What happens in baseball, if you notice,
Mm-hmm.
take the Milwaukee Brewers. They only spend so much money. If you look at Miami, they only spend so much money. They're not going over and beyond. And when
No.
and when Florida did win with all those superstars, when Florida won with that very minimum budget, what did they do? They got rid of the whole team. Um, yeah. If you guys ever, I don't know if you ever seen the movie, but the movie Moneyball is a very interesting movie. It's about the Oakland A's, and they built a team off computer generate. I mean, I would it's just off computer about trying to get the best bang. They did it with the smallest budget of baseball, and that
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and but they never won. You know what I mean? It just never. They did good, but they never could get
Right.
over the hump because the owner just wasn't said he didn't have it to spend it or couldn't spend whatever they were doing. They were paying. very minimum, and they had a
Right.
good run. And I think because the bottom line is they're getting part of the revenue share. You know what I mean? That's the
Mm-hmm.
deal. That's how it's So they're still making money, and I just wonder. Like I said, Phillies just hit in 3 years. They have really slipped big. I think
Absolutely.
in 3 years.
Absolutely. With the
Because wasn't it 3 years ago they had Harding, Sims, and they had
they had
yeah, I mean they had
Harding,
three
Simmons,
stars.
Embiid, and Maxey. With those,
Oh yeah, I
with the
forgot about
lineup they
Maxi.
had, they should have done better than they did. But uh their GM, with the open end promises the players how and that's why Harden's play went down because he was promised a certain contract and it didn't follow through. So and that's when his play went down. And that's when the antics started but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge Daryl Morey as a GM. Now, he's GM. I mean, internet sports analyst. So I don't nowhere in my mind do I think that I know basketball better than this guy. But he's put in that position for a reason. I'll put in my position for mine. He's supposed to execute at his position, and I'm supposed to report, what we see in my position. And what I see is some mishandlings from Mr. Moore. Why, and knowing, and I agree, you know, um, Paul George is a basketball player that you should want on your team. But I know they see the same thing we see, you know, especially when he was in LA. It was a lot of injuries, a lot of missed playing time. Because look how the Clippers are playing now
Yeah,
with Kawhi and Harden, you know.
yeah,
So I guess it's safe to say that, you know, the big three is a done deal, pretty much. Got to get your two core players
yeah,
and some nice pieces around them that fits your style of basketball. Because
and a good
that
solid
that did
bench.
not work
Don't
at
have to be
all.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and a
but just a
solid
good
bench.
solid bench. Um, Now going over to Western Conference. Like I said, the Lakers, even though they're 5-5, they've played some really good basketball and they've beat some people.
Hmm.
And I'm like, hmm. Now Oklahoma, they lost to the Lakers. They're still
Hmm.
64-14. They lost the last two. They went on an 8-2 run for the last 10. The Rockets are playing really, really good basketball. They're
Hmm.
a little force to be reckoned with. They went on 8-2. Like I said, Lakers are 5-5. They've won the last two. The Nuggets have lost the last four and are 3 for 7. They were 3 for 7. They're having a rough time. I don't know. I don't know what
Seems
seems to
like
be the problem. Yeah,
right. They can't close the game out. Seems like, and I say it every time they miss that championship bench
right.
when they won the NBA championship. They missed that bench because that bench, they kept the defense tenacious. They scored points when they need to, and they kept their lead. So when Jokic is not on the floor, there's not that much work to do. They maintain the lead that the starters built up when those guys come in. And you could rotate them guys out with the starters, and you could definitely and you could still run the type of offense and defense that you wanted to with those teams. But which they got some veterans. Their bench is pretty good, but I think they missed that.
Yeah, it's just not the caliber that it was. I mean,
Right.
it's definitely not the caliber. Now the Clippers, the last 10, they've won eight out of they won 8-2, won the last four in a row. So I'm gonna tell you something. I watch the Warriors play because I mess around with Steph a lot, and some nights it's
Hmm.
55, and some nights it's 4, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not really consistent, and they're in the 6th seed now. The Timberwolves are on their butt, and so is the
Hmm.
Memphis. Actually, the Memphis and Timberwolves
They're right
are,
there.
yeah, they're all tied. All right, now Sacramento Kings and the Mavericks, they can't overcome it because there's not enough games left. But you put Memphis and you put Timberwolves, one of them slide into the 6th, and it's changing because I know Memphis is they're another one. Their last 10, they've
Hmm.
won 3 for 7. You never can tell about Morant. And is tonight the night? Is he gonna be? I don't know. Some nights he looks like lights out, and other nights I can't figure it out. Not very consistent. But they
Right.
got the bigs. Them in Minnesota got the bigs. They'll handle you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's my because it's really going back to that, like you said about the big three gone and the small. Because I see the Warriors winning. I do. I mean, I watch the Warriors, uh, but I also see them. They can't mess around with the bigs. Now, when you got two bigs on
Mm-mm.
the floor, you know what I mean,
They
and the
play small
guard
ball.
is basic. Yeah, and the guard's basically as big as your biggest big you got on the team. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they got two of them. Yeah, and it's like,
Right. So it's like, what do you do? So what do you have to do? You have to play small ball. You got to play fast. Got to hit those shots. Got to hit those. Steph's got to hit those threes. Jimmy Butler's got to be a force on the inside. Draymond with his awareness and coach on the floor type presence that'll help out a little bit. But their bitch is okay. It's not the greatest bitch that it's not the greatest bench Golden State has, but it's okay. But I don't think it's
yeah,
enough because they could easily get taken by a Minnesota or Memphis for that matter if Ja can stay focused on the game and not so much the the antics got to go. Because if he continues to buck the system, he's going to cost them a lot of games. He's going to cost them some games.
yeah,
He's going to end up getting traded. Why? Because now there's a target on you, especially when you've been warned and you still do the gesture. Now the referees are like, okay, he think it's his game. We got to put him in his place, and so he's not going to get the calls, and he's going to get a lot of fouls.
yeah.
Because
He's not
in the
getting a call. You're
playoffs,
right.
the
Because
whistles,
yeah,
right? The whistles get the whistles are a little bit tight in the playoffs, and they do that for a reason. They let the teams win the game, not the whistle of the ref. So those ticky tack fouls that you got during the regular season, it's going to disappear. And it also has to do with your respect for the game. Everyone has love for the game. It's what they did all their life. It's respecting the game and having pride in it. And I think that's what's lacking with Memphis, and that's a discipline thing. And if they don't get that in the wraps, it's gonna be a little thorn in their side. Now, there's been rumors out there about them maybe keeping the young guy and trading Ja off because maybe they're thinking that it's him that's hurting the chemistry of the team. So you trade him off, you get some valuable assets back, and you're still rolling, you know. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But there needs to be some sense of awareness. I think maybe his pops needs to pull him to the side and say, "Hey, you can be good right now, or you could be a legend in this game forever and reap all of the benefits from it." You would think that's what you
right,
want to do, especially when you get in a position where you can change the lives of your family forever. You want to take advantage of
right.
everything that you can. So
Like I said, that's a whole nother. That's a show on a show.
that's
That's for
that's
sure.
another show. But at the
I
same
was.
time, I feel like that's going to be an issue with him
It
getting
is. No,
frustrated for
that's a
not getting
factor.
calls and that affects your shot.
It's going to be a fact if they make it to a 7 game series. It will be a factor. You'll see some
Hmm.
shenanigans, and it will be like, and you'll see some shenanigans. I was going to give if you're not. So we like to bet a lot of player props, and I'm going to tell you a
Hmm.
little gem here lately that's really been shooting good is Austin Reeves.
Yes.
Watch him on the player props because I mean he'll
Hmm.
come and he'll drop three threes on you quick. Uh, he can definitely score some. He can score some points. Um,
Hmm.
uh, he's a gem. And Morant can be too. I've won money with Morant. I've seen him
I
on
have
three
to.
games hit 25 plus, and then then you're like I saw him hit two in 1 quarter. Said, "Oh, I'm done." Came back, scored 26, and that was last week. 26, and I said, "We got it." You just don't
Mhm.
know. It's like, well, what was missing in the first? And they interviewed him.
Right.
He said, "Well, they were booing me," and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking like you're a professional athlete. You get booed everywhere you
Right.
go. You know what I'm saying? I
You
mean,
should be
that's
used to that.
yeah. I don't know.
You
It's
should be
just
used to
you
that.
know, and I understand he's a young man. You know, what I mean, he's a
Yeah.
young man with making a lot of money, and we all know what it's like to be a young man, and you're kind of full of yourself, and I get it. So I'm not gonna sit here and just rip the poor guy apart.
Right.
But I hope he gets rid of the shenanigans. Really be a
Right.
great kind of guy. He definitely's got unbelievable. Speaking of Hall of Fame, I mean I know it's a little early to say it, but um, a AGA. I mean, is he the next Steph Curry? SGA?
SGA. Next step Curry. Wow. Close. I say close. I say
He
close.
man can shoot. He can shoot. Oh yeah, I know it's a little early to give
The
him all
guy's
that, but
insane.
the man he can. How long has he been in the league? I don't even know. Let me see.
I'm not sure either,
Um,
sir. While you look that up,
oh,
I
he's been in the
will
league since 2018. 2018. He draft
wow.
info. Ro- yeah, pick number 11, 2018. So he's been in the league 7 years. Um,
Hmm.
stat 6'6", 195 pounds. Um, so he's not a huge guy.
No.
Um, but I know. Let me see. Let's go to back. But he's got what has he got? Two 7 footers on the team
He's got, yeah, 2 7-footers on the team. He's got
roster.
some long
Is it
arm
the two
wings
seven
on the team.
footers they got?
Yeah, with Steven
They
Adams
play well
and
together. The only
yeah,
thing. Let's see. So they got 7'1", 7 foot. Yeah, they got 7'1",
yeah.
7 foot. Uh, Isaiah and Chet Holman. Um, yep. Sure are a bunch of 6'9s. Actually, they got honestly they got. I'm sorry, Brandon Carlson. They have he's 7 foot too. He's 7 foot
Hmm.
also. So they have three 7 footers on their team. So
Right.
they could big ball. They could have two different shifts of
Yeah.
big man. You know
They
what I
can
mean? They could come
right.
three. They can go 3-2
own the
on you.
right. They can own the half court, and when they need to play small ball or when they need to go up and down the court, he can just swap out a couple, put some quick guys in there and keep it moving. Now, the
Right,
reason
and
I
just
think
keep it.
right. Now, I think the reason why the Lakers won is because um they came out and set the tone and they just shot their lights
Experience.
out. They shot their lights out. Um LeBron didn't do a lot of rebounding. I think he's still saving himself for the playoffs, but it was good that he didn't have to do as much. Lucas on, but Lucas one of those guys that's got OKC number. they can't do nothing with him because the way it when you watch Luca
Yeah.
play, it looks clumsy as hell, but it works. It's effective, and you can't do nothing with it. It's like there's no way this guy is making these shots, off of, it just doesn't. I guess it doesn't flow smoothly. It's a little bit rough, but it's effective. And for the Lakers to
Right.
go far in these playoffs, they're gonna have to play that way. Now, do they have the stamina to play like Luca played last night? Like like they're big, like Luca, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. Can those three play like that throughout this whole series? I don't think so. Um, but they do have a
That's a lot to
chance.
ask. That's a lot to
Yeah,
ask.
it's a lot to ask, and that's why I'm not as adamant about them coming out of the West. And they make it to the finals depends on the matchups, depends on the road they have to take to get there. But I'm still not confident enough to say that they're coming out of the Western Conference due to the talent that's in front of them. They have more talented pieces. Now when all of our pieces are rocking on all cylinders, the Lakers is a tough beat. But
Yes, I agree.
it's gonna be, yeah. It's gonna take that type of play uh throughout the whole playoffs. And can you do that? So their best bet is this next OKC games. Just rest everybody, let OKC have it. Have them fresh for the playoffs. Because it's gonna be a grind.
He and there's another team that you got to take in consideration because they've been playing well. Is you got to take in the Clippers. The Clippers have been
Right.
playing well. I mean, they're all playing very
Yeah.
well. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of great talent on both sides of Western Eastern.
Yeah.
It used to we could go, well, the what they were way stronger, but man, there's a lot of I mean, there's a lot of tough teams on both sides.
A lot of
Western
teams on both
Conference,
sides.
Eastern Conference.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of teams, a lot of big teams, a lot of shooting teams. Well, it's not just so dominant, maybe like it has been in years past, but like I said, now's the time to get on that future of doing, if you want to pick somebody, put a little money on maybe the Lakers or Boston or the Cavs. And you like I said, you made the ultimate point about the Lakers is um, they have to play like that every single night against a big team, and then have to win that series, and then play like that every single night the next series against more bigs, and
Mm-hmm.
that's my only, that's the only thing that's really kind of things changed. It was small ball. Remember, small ball was it. They were, what I
Yeah.
mean. I mean, they were doing it at Golden State. Four championships, six
Mm-hmm.
appearances. I mean, it was just, and that was the big three. And then we're going to do this. Now we're bringing 7 foot guys that shoot threes, and you're like, really? How about that? Um, kind of different. But
No,
yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot of great talent, and yeah, and that's the same. And you look at the Nuggets; they're struggling, but don't count them out.
Right.
Because they'll definitely give you. And you
They
got the
got
Warriors are the
yeah.
Warriors.
They got Murray, they got
Um,
Jokic, they're gonna be fine.
yeah, and like I said, the dark horses is Minnesota and Memphis. If they could kind of get their act
Minnesota and
together, they
Memphis.
could get.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could definitely give you some grief on a 7 game series. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. Um, Memphis, you just got to figure out if they'll self implode. That's what you can. And
Yeah.
then
It's a
the
mental thing with
Timberwolves
them.
at times, yeah, young team. That's the thing that a lot of people are questioning about Oklahoma. If a more experienced Celtic team can they beat the Cleveland in a series? Now this ain't one and done. I mean that's the
Right.
whole thing. It's a series. You got to win the best out of 7, and that changes. And that's why when we always talk about March Madness, it's like you're talking about a series versus one and done. So different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's no chance for a bad night. You're not, it's
Right.
just. But in a series, you can have you can have it. So right now it's 21-29.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 minutes 45 seconds, and we have Houston over Florida right now.
Wow.
So right now we would
Wow.
have 50. The 55 was a good bet. Right now, well, I
Mm-hmm.
say that right now we're at 50, and I think we could squeeze 5.5 out on the half. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because you got 4 minutes and 45. Like I always tell you guys, make sure you line up the times. Make sure you're watching because a lot of these games have a weird delay from computer to TV. And here's
Mm-hmm.
another thing with a lot of people, there could be a delay from we use YouTube TV in my
Right.
shop, in the man cave. There's a 2 minute delay, so you're
Right.
actually watching 2 minutes ahead. You got to really be make sure you're making the bet on the actual time. All right,
Mm-hmm.
again, guys, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Big Lou. If you have any questions, anything that we talked about tonight about the advertising, about being on the show, hit us up at 318-221-5422. Big Lou, I want to thank you. Another Tuesday night in the books on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Hell.